hard to believe it's been over a decade since we saw the last release in the TimeSplitters franchise with TimeSplitters Future Perfect, a franchise we love on this panel here. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the pause menu. I'm Corey. This is Chris. And some somewhat exciting news is that THQ Nordic bought the TimeSplitters IP.
Wow.
And that's kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's been talk about TimeSplitters, someone making it. Crytek owned it, and there's been talks that they were making a game, but then they hit their financial hardship. But it's done. THQ owns it, and they said they are going to be making a new game. So the question is that, well, they say new. What do we want to see from TimeSplitters, A? And B, are they actually going to make a new game, or are they just going to do a remaster, or what are they going to do? So what do you want to see from TimeSplitters?
So I honestly think this is a perfect time to throw a remaster out there. A remaster of the first 3 games. Just give us a collection. And I feel like that would be a nice door, or if it sells well, to introduce a TimeSplitters 4. Again, I love this game. We all love this game. Again, I played a lot of 3 growing up, and I would love to play that again. And it doesn't really have to be like a remaster. It could just be like an HD 60 frame game. Even if you could do that, like that would just really push me forward to loan. There's just so many moments and memories in that game that just made it so satisfying. And for the longest time, that was the game we would just play floor screen multiplayer matches where you can just be a duck shooting a monkey, and that's the thing. What game do you have like that these days where you have that nice comical sense with it where it just works? And the best part, that game did. So I want to see a remaster of the first 3 for sure.
I agree. I could do without the first one. The first one is fine, but what's interesting is the second and third one are still very different games. That the second one is more of a serious game, while the third one is just full out comedy. Like they do some really funny stuff in it. But no, I 100% agree with you in the fact that there's really nothing like TimeSplitters right now. There's not that goofy first person shooter, and it just sort of they don't care what they do. You can be a giant hand. There's just so many weird things, but it worked in what they created. And Free Radical was just such a great developer, and it sucks that they're no longer there, but I think it's cool that THQ Nordic was we see value in this IP.
Yeah.
But, go ahead.
A lot of people don't, yes, there's a lot of games that just go and die, and to see someone just to grab it like that would be great. Again, the only complication that I feel like it's a first-person shooter that would be difficult for people to get into these days. Again, it's
an old game.
It's an old game. The controls being the way that they were. I played it on the GameCube, and it was a slow-paced moving game where, I don't know. It's not your new line Call of Duty. It doesn't play like your Doom. It's very different. So it's a learning curve you have to adjust to.
Sure. For
it to come out, just from the time that it came out.
Sure. Yeah. It would be interesting to see if they were to remaster it, would they actually remaster it, or would they just sort of touch it up and release it? But I think that has to happen, right? I don't think you can just make a TimeSplitters 4, put it out and expect it to sell. While people like us would buy it, there's a lot of people that didn't, that have probably never even heard of it.
Sure.
And so you have to give them something to sort of introduce it to them. And I think you can do it with even just TimeSplitters 2 or just TimeSplitters 3. I think you could do a remaster of one of those, put it out for $20, or do them both, I guess, and put it out for 30 or 40. I would be all over that. But it's still going to be, you have to introduce it somehow. Mm-hmm. But
to me, even making it 60 frames would change the whole game.
Sure.
It'd be much faster paced, of course. Maybe it'd make the aiming so much easier and so forth. But again, that game had a lot of content in itself. Even if you don't play multiplayer, because it wasn't online.
No, of course
accessible
not.
at all,
no,
right?
No, yeah.
I don't think it was. That would be a great feature to add to this game, because you can have matches with a lot of people running around in the plain open. But God, so many people would be monkeys.
Yeah, that's true.
We
were all monkeys.
So. The character, all your options of what you could choose from, there were so many options, and I would just love to see that.
It'd be awesome. So, but then the other side of the coin is, what do you want to see from a new TimeSplitters game? Obviously the sky is the limit, but it's when I think of a new TimeSplitters game, I think I want something more like 3. I think I want something that's more goofy rather than serious, but I want to see something that I want to see it grow in terms of level design, and the weapon design. I just want to see it bigger and funnier. And that's all I need. I don't need it to be this super serious, Halo competitor with this super deep online multiplayer. I'm no, those games to me were about fun, and that's what I want to see. And if there is a TimeSplitters 4,
And I completely agree with that. I feel like, again, like you mentioned, there's no game out right now that's matching that. Like your goofy first-person shooter, like I can't think of any other game other than TimeSplitters that does that well. Other than one game that came out, like I think it was 2009, it was kind of a disappointment. I hope it doesn't become like a Duke Nukem situation.
Oh yeah, I hope not.
I mean, like for some reason, that's where my mind goes to when I think a new TimeSplitters out of nowhere and how that happened to that game. And sadly, we know what happened to that game. But like, I feel like I don't know. It just all depends on the writing,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, the
Yeah.
third one, Future Perfect, had good writing where the humor worked with the action gameplay of it.
No, and it's the whole, I'd like to see him sort of go deeper into like the time travel stuff. That's what like that game did some really wacky things with time travel and in a good way.
Yeah.
Like it was very unique and different. And like other games like Quantum Break have tried the whole time thing, but like it's very. Time travel is so weird because it's so hard to write and have it make sense, but TimeSplitters threw that out the window. It's just like, this timeline is completely jacked up. We don't care. Have some fun with it. So that's what I want to see. Like, I want to see them just take the core of it and just have fun with it, because that's why we love it, because we just have fun with it. So
Yeah, I want to go back and play it right now.
I know,
Yeah,
right? That's
we're talking
remaster it,
about
man. I'll make it, or I'll buy it. So, but I think that obviously this game is probably not in production yet, or it's just starting production. But I just can't imagine what a TimeSplitters game on a PlayStation 5 or Xbox 4 is going to look like. Like, I can't even, like, that's going to look nuts. Like, I just can't. The possibilities are endless.
And,
like, how, like, the monkey's going to look so real.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like, I don't know. Like, I want that, but like, I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't happen. Like, I feel like, I don't know.
Do you make it a budget title? Do you make it a $20 game, and so you don't put as much time and effort into
For
it?
like a TimeSplitters 4?
Yeah. Like, instead of a $60 AAA
And maybe
game?
it's just because how the game it is itself. Like, from what we experienced from Future Perfect. I mean, you're playing a GameCube game here. I think it's just hard for me to imagine that
Sure.
upscaled on new consoles.
Right. Like, you don't want a Perfect Dark situation. Like, Perfect Dark Zero was a really ugly game. Like, that was, as a huge Perfect Dark fan, that game was kind of disappointing, and they tried to take it into, the future, and they tried to make it look fancy, but it didn't really work. So hopefully it doesn't turn into that situation. But
Show us what you got, Nordic.
yeah, I'm excited though. Like,
super here.
if you would have told me that we're going to see a TimeSplitters game in the future, I would have been like, no, you're nuts. Like, no one's going to put money into that. But clearly they see value in it. So let us know what you think about the purchase of TimeSplitters. Were you a fan? Have you ever heard about it? Do you want to play it? Would you play a remaster? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. And we will see you next time.